tres, cuatro.
Hello, welcome to Pagan Day of Prayer. I am Lady Gwendolyn, and joining me for the 6 o'clock time slot of prayers is Miss Meghan Black. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So, tell us a little bit of your background.
So I am a Slavic folk witch, and in a smaller sense, I am a shep-too-hah. So it is a very specialized form of Slavic practice. Szeptucha is the Polish word for whisperer, and we take our prayers, our ceremonies, our rituals, our spells, and we whisper them in order to heal others. It's a very different technique than most practices, I think. Most practices call you to say things very loudly, and Szeptucha is the opposite. I believe something's frozen, and I don't know if it's me or if it's Gwen. So I can talk a little bit more about it as we wait for Gwen to come back. So the Szeptucha practices have been going on for literal centuries, and you can find whisperers in many small towns in Poland, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus. And along with my Polish family background, I sort of fell upon this path. It was given to me, and I've been studying it and devoted to it for the past 6 to 7 years. So sorry for all the wind today that we are having and experiencing. Has not been quite as a fun day with all the wind. Hubby's helping neighbors with the flying shingles. So I do have a prayer today too, and it is focused around the goddess Makosh. In a lot of Szeptucha or whisperer practices, we do call upon energies. Some are deities and some are spirit energies. Some don't always do full-blown deities. They just call in the spirits of certain elements. But today we are going to call in upon Makosh. She is a Slavic deity. She is what they would call Mother Earth, Met Zemla, wet Mother Earth. So she has a lot of associations with the earth, the ground, the harvest, but she is also a weaver and a spinner. So she is the one who is in control of everyone's fates. She has the direct access to that. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
What does her representation look like?
So I do have a statue here of her. Not many images have survived over the hundreds of years, thousands of years that Christianity has taken over.
Okay.
But a lot of the times you will see this sort of symbol here. A lot of times it's just like a big X is her symbol as well. And she usually is holding something. These are like grains. So there's something from the harvest associated with her. She is also the keeper of the gates, and that goes along with the fates.
Okay. Awesome.
A lot. And that's what's really hard too about the Slavic paganism is that there is no true pantheon as there is the others like Celtic and Norse. There's no true pantheon because it changes between different regions of which sort of deity they follow. So some people would call her Makosh, but others see her as Lada or Metzemla. So she's called all these different things, but there are sort of archetypes of the same being.
Okay. All right, wonderful. And thank you for continuing on while it's windy.
Yeah.
issues. Yeah. So
Power has been flickering. My husband's helping our neighbor here with the flying shingles. So yeah.
it is we release the ashes from the prayers at after the 3 o'clock check in, and the ashes, the first round of them, blew right back all over me, and so I'm blessed, I guess. So
Yes. Yes.
blessings and keep flowing. Okay, so before you do anything, I have been bringing the candle for today around and sitting it here so that we can, like, it's like it's between us and everybody. So it has been going all day. So yeah, for you just joining us, we chose a green candle for today because everyone was looking at like wanting prosperity and abundance. So be sure that you are very precise with your wording on what you want. So, all right, I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. Also, my deaf dog now seems to be barking at nothing. So sorry about that.
It's okay. Things are crashing and banging around outside. As long as I don't hear anybody screaming, we're good to go.
She's praying with us.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, Remington, we hear you. Yes. Yes, thank you. So this is my prayer to Makosh, provider of water and booster of yields. Fate's mother, the weaver of all lives. Provide for us a prosperous future. Makosh, in times of sorrow and injustice, we ask that you provide all of us happiness and equality. As we sow our lands, bring us a plentiful harvest. As we grow ourselves, bring us health and wellness. As we rise, bring us stability. As we unite, bring us inclusivity. Hear our prayer, Great Mother, raising our voices and our hearts to you. Embrace the strands of our destinies and make us whole.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Thank you.
So, when would you does she have like a harvest festival? I mean, is there a festival in her honor or certain days that she's associated with or anything?
Yeah, so she is associated with all the harvests, and I give back to her with the biodegradable foods that we take in, eggshells, the leftover from our plants, and we actually place it in the garden. And as we take the leftovers and we place them in the garden, we honor her so that our garden in turn has a more plentiful harvest. And I can honestly say the difference in gardens between our neighbors and ours, huge.
I like hearing that one.
Every year, our zucchini plant, like the leaves are like larger, like 2 times of my head. I don't know. You can just see it physically between a person who actually honors the earth and someone who just plants stuff.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference, and I will share the pictures on a Facebook group that I'm in to show that, like, when you give back to the earth, it will obviously come back to you. So she is celebrated on all the harvests. She also has a day in October. It's actually the Friday that falls between October 25th and November 1st. So she's, as the keeper of the gates, where the veil is thin, you can find her the easiest.
Okay, yeah. So what is when someone comes to you and asks you about your practice, what is the key point that you make sure that you let them know?
that even though we are whispering as part of the whisperer shep-too-hah path, that sometimes it can be overwhelming, the working that you do. A lot of the healing sessions that I do now compared to what I did before I did the whisperer path are like I cry with with the person because there's this difference in energy that's there. Um, I like to bring up like how I do grief healings now compared to how I did them before, where the person before the Szeptucha practice was obviously felt better and they were just like feeling calm. But during the healing session, they were just sort of quiet. There was no sort of response within the person. And then when I performed my very first Szeptucha practice of a grief healing, the lady that I had, it started out the same where things were a little quiet. But then just these raging, screaming, crying crocodile tears. And I'm like, she was with everything in her body, releasing all the grief that she was feeling, that she was holding back. And you could tell it was just like eating at her. So, and just
Wow.
it's all I did, whisper all the prayers and the incantations. And that woman knew exactly when to just release it all. And I cried with her, and it was beautiful. And she said that she felt so light afterwards. And I was like, that's what we're looking for.
Absolutely. Release that which weighs us down.
Yes. And she did. And it was beautiful.
I love that each of us have our own, I'm bringing this up, but the show Divination Night is for, psychics and readers of all types, and we talk about that. But just as though there are as many different readers, there is that many different healers. Yes. And a lot of us fall on the same, we do both, I do, and you do as well.
Yes.
So that kind of leads us into tell us about your readings.
So my favorite form of reading are bone castings. And you can find stories of old Polish women with their sewing accoutrements and just grabbing a handful of them and throwing them out on a table and divining from what pieces fell where. And I'm sort of adding into the accoutrements because I do have some charms and crystals and things in my set. But tied to that are the bones. And it serves a huge purpose because in folk magic practices, whether you're looking at basic folk magic or if you're looking at Slavic practices, which I do, it is very ancestor based. I mean, we're asking our ancestors to always watch over us. So the bones are connected to my ancestors and they sort of help guide through the divination process because it can be very taxing on the person performing the divination. So when you have the help and the backup of your whole bloodline behind you, it's a little easier to get one.
Oh yeah. So you speaking of your ancestors, when did your eyes open up to this was your path?
So it wasn't until I started doing more research into it. The path was ultimately given to me through a dream. And I was left with Google searches at that point because what the heck is a whisperer? But through the books that I found, it was one Russian book, and it brought about a memory of me and my grandmother when I was a child. And I tell this story to a lot of people, but when I was little, I was about 6 years old, and there was a huge storm coming, and we had a whole bunch of very, very tall trees around the house, and it was coming from the opposite direction. So it was like a nor'easter. That was hard to say. Coming through. So it was a bigger storm than what we're used to.
Yeah.
And my grandmother was like, "We need to pray, and we need to pray now." And I'm like, "Okay." So she handed me my rosary, grabbed hers, and then grabbed the big cast iron pierogi pan that she uses. And she placed it on the stove, and then she got down the blessed palms that she got from Palm Sunday. And she started burning them. And she told me to start saying my prayers. But then she specifically said to whisper the prayers over top of the burning palms. And I'm like, well, we did not learn this in Sunday school. You're supposed to say your prayers out loud. You're supposed to say them out loud or just in your head down the rosary. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then I started remembering that my grandmother spoke Polish, but she only ever whispered Polish, and it was only ever with her prayers. And every time that I asked her to teach me Polish, because I thought it sounded beautiful, she said that I wasn't ready yet. So, along with my research into everything, I'm now teaching myself Polish.
Keep on learning. Keep striving for that. Absolutely.
So when to answer your question, when did I find that this is definitely my path? It was the realization that it's always been with me. And in a way, I feel like my grandmother was also a whisperer, for the fact that she literally only ever whispered her prayers. Only. So I had no idea what she was saying. I know that it was in Polish, and she never stopped. The rhythm never stopped. And that is extremely important in whispers. We whisper on our inhales and our exhales, and then there's no stop of our breath at the top of our inhale and the bottom of our exhale. And it's just a constant rhythm. And it's
wow.
Beautiful.
Like, I don't even know what to say. I've been overwhelmed by, everybody's path today, and it's all been emotional and a lot of cold chills because we're connecting.
Oh, yes.
So yeah. All right, darling. Anything else that you want to talk about?
I came on here today and accepted your request to help with prayers because I think that it is very important for not us, just pagans, to pray, but it is important for everyone to pray, because when we do pray, whether we're whispering or if we're saying it out loud, we are pulling to the front part of our brain the ideas that we wish to come to fruition, the things that we're looking for ourselves to be out in the open. So the longer and more often that we pray, the more that we're sort of changing ourselves along with it. So I do appreciate of having the honor of speaking with you today to speak about Makosh, who is one of my matron deities. So I do greatly appreciate it, and that gets her name out as well. So
absolutely, and that's all about. I think it's very important, and that's what Rowan Temple of Light is about. It's about educating on everything so that we understand each other. It is no, I don't believe that it is our path to judge each other, but to understand and accept, so that we can all, and that this was one of my blessings, was that we all come together and raise our vibrations together, and here we go. So so that's I'm sorry, my eyes are hitting my deities that are sitting around, so like they're all watching right now. Like I'm being watched. Okay, so where can you be found?
I can be found. The easiest place is my website, and that is she'sthewhisperer.com. I will also be uploading the prayer from today to the website, to the blog section, so people can have access to that and continue to raise her up a little bit higher, to raise their vibrations higher, and to help bring in plentiful harvests, no matter what that means to them, whether it's from their garden or from the endeavors that they wish to seek in the mundane world.
That is beautiful. I love that, and I'm glad that you're continuing to share And we are going to hear more out of you this year, because even though you're a whisperer, you're not being quiet.
No. No, I'm not.
So you can be found at Earth Magic. You guys got events and stuff going on there.
Mhm.
Didn't you just have a class there?
Yes, I just taught a class on protections and wards.
Okay. So do you got anything coming up next?
There will be some other classes. We haven't solidified any dates yet, but those will be posted on my website, Earth Magic's website, and then both of our Facebook pages as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Mhm.
Good. All right. Well, I thank you so much. And I do appreciate. I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. Um, so you are also helping out and working with me and Mo and others for Beltane in the Hills.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be a really exciting event. Like everybody's really putting their energy into it, and it's going to be phenomenal. And then at our other event, Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, you're teaching a class.
Yes, I.
Okay, so before we go, can you talk about your class real quick?
Yes, I can. I'm super excited about it.
Does it connect with your prayer today at all?
In a way, it does, because again, Makosh is the keeper of keys, but she also works with the god Velez. There are many different pronunciations of his name, but we're going to stick with Velez because my Pennsylvania rural tongue is very difficult at pronouncing things precisely. In conjunction with those two deities working together, they help us with shadow work. And that is important for any sort of practice, I believe. And in our practices, it is absolutely necessary for you to accept, befriend, and meld with your shadow self, because we're working on balance. We're working on bringing ourselves to become whole. We're not taking those shadow parts of ourselves that we don't like to see and throwing them away. We're bringing them into us. We're opening them up so that we can become one whole person. So the class that I'll be teaching is on how to do that.
I'm so excited. It fits in with the theme perfectly. The theme, if you are not aware, for 2023 Central West Virginia Pagan Pride is quote the raven working in the shadows. So this is a main theme for the year, really digging deep and releasing that trauma. And here I go again. I'm getting a lot of energy like zaps today, so it's like, yes, the messages that are coming out of your mouth is correct. Keep doing it. So it's been great today. All right, so I'm so appreciative and so thankful for you putting all of this work into the community. I know you're really excited about it, and I'm excited to see all that you do. So thank you so very much.
Oh, and thank you.
All right. Well, I guess that is it for the 6 o'clock segment. I will return at 9 p.m. for the closing, and we'll see how much more this candle burns down. Because it hasn't hardly moved at all today, but it has been burning nonstop. All right, everybody. Love you. See you at 9 p.m. Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome.